All right, this is the old man coming at you with a long overdue rant. It is time for us as Americans, both Republican and Democrat, and all other little minor parties in between, to put an end to wokeness and cancel culture. And people say, oh no, it's too late to do that. No, it's never too late to stand up for what's right. Let me start with cancel culture first. It's funny that when for over 250 years, people have never, and many bad things have happened in this country, good things have happened as well. And it wasn't until recently when cancel culture came into being. Excuse me. Why did all of a sudden people get offended by statues and flags and all kinds of stuff? I was raised up in Pennsylvania, and now I live here in Nashville, Tennessee, so they call me a damn Yankee. Me and I came down here and stayed. But the thing is, there's not everybody who has had a Confederate flag on their front yard is a racist. Some people have just used it as a symbol of their Southern pride. And so now all of a sudden, I say it because it's been a couple years, they started canceling shows like The Dukes of Hazzard, which was a good, wholesome family show, and now people all of a sudden want to find problems with it. People used to wave their Confederate flags at NASCAR. It's not because they want the South to rise again, because, like I said, it was part of their Southern heritage. But nowadays, people want to be offended by everything. So the next step was they started tearing down statues of Confederate soldiers that were in state parks and other places. Number one, they should have been arrested for vandalism and destruction of government property. The smart thing would have been if they left them there and helped them to learn the truth about the South and about the Confederacy. Because not everybody in the Confederacy who fought for the Confederacy believes in slavery. That's the truth. And if you actually examined the lives of these people who, like Robert E. Lee, when he was at war, he told his wife to go to Washington to pay his taxes on their property. Well, at the time they said that, well, a woman can't do that. But that was an excuse that they used to seize his land. And what was the land of Robert E. Lee is now known as Arlington National Cemetery. So his family was stripped of their property. And so it's important to leave those kind of things up so that we can learn about them. Learn the truth. We need to take a lesson from Germany. After World War II, and everything was all said and done, they did not destroy the internment camps. Instead, they left them there as a reminder of what not to do again. This is the kind of thing we need to be learning here in America. Just because you don't like something doesn't mean you can't learn from it. Now let me get into the main topic, which is wokeness. It has gone too far. People are offended by every little thing, and I'm not sure when this happened, because America used to be tough. We used to have differences of opinion, but we could still agree on important stuff. Nowadays in Washington, they can't do that because you got extremes on both sides, and they're not willing to meet in the middle. But it's really gotten bad when today's rising superstar, and I use that sarcastically, Dylan Mulvaney, have received sponsorships from 3 major companies because this person was doing TikTok videos, was given so much for each day that they did these videos. One was Bud Light, which we all know what that controversy is doing to Bud Light right now, and the whole Anheuser-Busch Corporation. The other is for Nike, because this person is wearing women's clothing. You don't think that Nike could have found a female athlete that they could have sponsored to do this? I mean, come on. And the third, which is just blows my mind, this person got a sponsorship from Tampax. This person had no need for a tampon. How could they even think that this would be a good sponsorship for them? And now we have, excuse me, basically men, transgendered men, and I have nothing against transgender. I got friends who are transgender. It's nothing against them. But transgender men who are competing in girls' sports in both high school and college. And they're making the girls basically take a shower with these people. These people who are still biologically male have all the equipment, and they're making these people, these women, shower with them, let alone competing with them. The latest was the one where this person who competed 3 years as a male and was like way down the line, wasn't doing so good, and so now all of a sudden transitions and becomes the quote-unquote top female swimmer. They basically, when this person tied with this girl, I'm not going to say her name, but everybody knows who she is, tied with this girl, and they basically said, oh yeah, it's a tie, but for the photo op, we have to give it to this person. It's like, really? This is what you're doing? And now, on top of that, and I've done some extensive research on this, is what the schools are doing with our children. The school's job, both kindergarten, preschool through 12, and college, is to help prepare these children for when they get out into the world. It's not to indoctrinate them in the teacher or professor's personal beliefs. And this is, I have a list here of several videos which I have watched recently. And several of these are all from school board meetings. The first one, there was an outraged parent who delivers a powerful speech to the school district because they were sponsoring, quote unquote, family-friendly drag shows. And here these people are coming and twerking and doing all this stuff in front of the kids. How is that family-friendly? If I had kids, I would pull my kid out of that school. I would not, no, you're not doing this for my kid. In Las Vegas, there was a mom who confronted the school board because their daughter was giving an assignment where she had to memorize a list of explicit items related to sex. And this wasn't a sex education class. You have an 11-year-old, says 11-year-old silences school board as he reads from a disturbing book that was found in the school library. The child found this book, and when he saw it, he realized this should not be here, and that's pretty good for an 11-year-old. Signs it out, and of course, the librarian asked the kid if he wants the graphic novel version, and takes it home and shows his father. Well, they show up at the school board meeting and they read this book, and it's basically pornography. Another one where you have, it says, school tricks teenage girl. She takes off her clothes in locker room in front of a boy without knowing. You have these kids, these young girls who are victimized because some boy said, oh, I'm a girl now. And so now they have to undress and shower in front of this person? No, it's not right. And then the one that I think is most disturbing, this mother of a middle school child, it says, mom drops mic at school board. Wearing a dress does not make you a woman. And the whole thing about this is that there's a student coach for her daughter's volleyball team who was a man. And what this person would do was, he's wearing a dress. And he's standing in the locker room watching these girls change and shower and go. Why is nobody doing anything about this? It is time as parents and American citizens to put an end to it. We do not need this kind of evil, satanic stuff going on in our schools. There was another one which I don't have written down, but I remember it was about a boy. There was a teacher. And the teacher basically said that every morning, the kids, they said the Pledge of Allegiance. And she said that she took down the flag during the COVID pandemic. And then she kind of slyly remarked that when the kids asked where the flag was, she said she couldn't find it. But the truth was, she said it made her uncomfortable. Why would the American flag make you uncomfortable? Because I'll tell you why, because most people confuse it with the government. The American flag is not about the government, it's about the citizens, it's about us. So if you feel uncomfortable about that, then something's wrong. But then the teacher, basically making fun of this boy, said, well, here's a flag that you can pledge to if you want. And it's an LBGTQXYZ flag, which is hanging on the wall. And she kind of snickered when she said that. It is not the teacher's job to indoctrinate the kids into their own personal beliefs. You teach them whatever subject that you were trained in, and that's it. I mean, there might be times when you can assert your opinion, but it's not a good thing to try and force your beliefs on someone else. There's a movie they had us watch, an education movie they had us watch in college when I was trying to get my teaching degree. And it was called The Wave. And basically what it was, there was a history teacher who was trying to teach the kids about World War II. And of course the kids were all messing around. And so he made a game out of it. He says, well, we're going to form our own little group. And not everybody can be in this group. It has to be selected. There's going to be certain people which are excluded. And this whole thing spiraled, and it was getting out of control. And the principal said something to the teacher and said, don't worry, I got a big finish coming up. So the teacher gathers all the kids together in the auditorium. And there's a picture which has a sheet over it, which is hanging up on the wall. And the teacher says, well, now I'm going to show you the founder of our organization. And when he pulled the sheet down, it was a picture of Adolf Hitler, which is exactly how the class was acting. They were acting just like a bunch of Nazis. And he was trying to get that across during his class, but they weren't listening to it, so he had to go through this whole big charade. But I recommend that movie for anybody who wants to see it. But we have gotten too far away from the basic principles that this country was founded on. You know, and I understand we did not have all these shootings in schools when I was a kid. I mean, there might have been some in other areas, but there never was any where I grew up. Heck, where I grew up in high school, just about every farm kid had a pickup truck with a rifle rack and a hunting rifle in the rifle rack. And on their belt was a little thing which held their pocket knife. No one was ever shot. No one was ever stabbed. Well, people say, well, it's not 1970s and 80s anymore. No. But as people, we're getting worse. And there's one of my theories is that, and I'm not anti-technology, don't get me wrong, but I feel that is more advanced we become, the worse we become as people. So I advise all Americans, whether you're a parent or not, time to make a stand. It's time to quit letting these people in Washington or in your local government trying to make us all seem like we're enemies. We're all Americans. Whether you're Democrat or Republicans, we're all Americans. It's time to suit up and kneel at the cross of Christ and say, help us, God. Help us turn this country around. For only He can do that. And we need to start doing it now. God bless America.